Hey everyone, it's me, Vinny again. It's that time of year again, guys. Football is finally back after everything we've been through in 2020. At least it's nice to see some regular season American football again in the NFL. Now, granted, I'm making my predictions with the precursor that we're gonna have a 16 game season, regardless, without any interruptions or injuries or outbreaks whatsoever. Some teams have fans coming to the stands, some have no fans at all, and some of the ones that already have fans, like I said before, has already a limited amount of them. Some went all out, like the Chiefs. I think a quarter or even a fifth of their total attendance is going to be coming. But either way, this is on the precursor that we're going to have a 16-game season. So let's start things off in the AFC East, shall we? Let's start off with who I think is going to be in last place. I think the New York Jets are going to finish with the worst record in the NFC East. I think they're going to go 3-13, 0-6 in their own division. Adam Gase will certainly get fired by the season's end, and this makes sense. I mean, Jamal Adams is no longer with the team. C.J. Mosley opted out. You know, we have no idea who the starter's going to be at running back. Could it be Le'Veon Bell? Could Frank Gore be the guy instead? Who really knows? We're still waiting for a progression for Sam Darnold in year 3. Adam Gase feels like a lame duck coach right at this point. The Jets easily going to be last place. Coming in third place, I think will be the Miami Dolphins. I think they will be 6-10. Now, don't let that record fool you. They're going to be a pretty competitive bunch of boys right here. Brian Flores is going to make the next step as being a head coach, and I think Tua will start some point down the line, though Fitzpatrick is going to start week 1, and most people think that's going to be the case. I think they will be competitive third in their division, 3-3 in their own division, and 3-10 everywhere else. But outside of that, the Dolphins are going to be a feisty team, but don't let their record fool you. In second place, I have the New England Patriots, who finished 9-7 and nabbed the third wild card spot in the playoffs. Look, now the reasons why I think the Patriots will make the playoffs, in particular, is because I'm very excited to see Cam Newton as the starter. Now, granted, the Patriots have the most opt-outs of anyone else in the league due to COVID with 8. However, Bill Belichick is the best coach of the last 20 years. I think he's going to adjust to Cam Newton's skill set, and I think the Patriots will be the team that barely sneaks out and makes it to another consecutive playoff appearance. Ever since 2009, I just see continue this ship keep rolling. It may not equate, it's probably not going to equate to a division title this year. Would be the first time since 2008. Because I think the division title is going to go to the Buffalo Bills. I think the Bills are going to be the 4-seeded team. I think they're going to go 10-6. And I think the defense is might improve, might take a step back. Allen, I think, will have an improvement on the offensive side of the ball, especially with Stephon Diggs. I think their special teams might get hurt a little bit, especially with Stephen Houskin out there. But at the same time, I do think the Bills are going to be winning their division. It feels inevitable. It's going to be either them or the Patriots. It's going to come down to the last week or two of the season. Now, as for the NFC North, the Bengals will take up the rear in the North with 4-12. Even with Joe Burrow, I still think they are going to be. I still don't think they're going to be a great team. Now, they did do well in free agency. E.G. Green's healthy again. Geno Atkins is always great. Carlos Dunlap is good. They brought over Von Bell from the Saints. They extended Joe Mixon. He's very underrated. Jonah Williams is going to finally come back healthy. But the Bengals are still not as good, not even close to as good as the next 3 teams in the AFC North, and that's why they're finishing last place. Though I do think Joe Burrow is going to have a great season. I think he's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. But at the same time, the Bengals, you're still not ready yet. Coming in third place, I see the Cleveland Browns having an 8-8 record. Not a winning record, but 8-8. Better than last year. Still no playoffs, but competitive until week's end. I think this Browns team is going to be better with Kevin Stefanski as their head coach. I think Baker's going to make that next step. I think OBJ is going to have a better year. I think Myles Garrett is going to have any headache issues. He's not going to have any of that stuff this year, which is good. It's warranted, please. I think Olivier Vernon will do a bit better. I think he's going to try to stay healthy. I just think even without Joe Scobert, I do think the Browns on both sides of the ball, and even the special teams, I do think they are going to be better with Stefanski at the helm, but still no playoffs. The Steelers, I see making the playoffs after missing the last 2 seasons. I think they're going to have the 5 seed in the AFC. The defense is really, really good, man. And if Ben Roethlisberger and if Juju and if even James Conner, if they could stay healthy, this is the team that can compete with the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are still better, but they can compete with them. I think the Ravens are a team that is going to win the division. I think they're going to go 3-13. I think Lamar Jackson is going to improve on it. I don't think he's going to have as good as his MVP season, but I do think he is going to be the reason as to why the Ravens retain the number 1 seed from last year. But as for the Steelers, going back to them, they're going to be a playoff team. They're going to be competitive with them until the year's end. But the Steelers will make the playoffs, but as a wild card team. But at least that's better than no playoffs at all. And then for the AFC South, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars having the worst record in the NFL with a 2-14 record. They are tanking. Leonard Fournette's not there anymore. Ngakwe's gone. Campbell's gone. All they have left is really Josh Allen and Myles Jack. Gardner Minshew, could he take the next step? I don't know. Doug Marrone is the clear candidate to get fired at the end of this season. So they're going to tank for Trevor. All the signs point to that. Houston Texans, I see being 3rd place, but at 7-9. I do think the Texans will be competitive still. However, without DeAndre Hopkins, it's going to be a little bit tough. The Texans didn't have that great of a draft class. I think Bill O'Brien is going to be on the hot seat at the end of this season. But there's only so many times you can have someone like Deshaun Watson bail you out time and time again. It's only so long for you to have, Whitney Merciless and J.J. Watt bail you out time and time again. The Texans will not win their division. They will not even make the playoffs. They will be competitive, but even with Brandon Cooks and Randall Cobb, they are not someone as much of a game changer as DeAndre Hopkins, and the Texans will take a step back. Tennessee Titans will be 2nd in the division again, and yet again, they will finish with a 9-7 total record. I loved the signing of Jadeveon Clowney. Hold on, I'm just charging this. I loved the signing of Jadeveon Clowney. He is one of the best pass rushers in the league. He is someone that I think the Titans could really rely on. However, the Titans are going to be in that 6th spot again. Tannehill will kind of be the same. Henry, they'll pick apart their game a little bit more, but the Titans are still a playoff team. And then winning the division, I see the Indianapolis Colts with an 11-5 record. Look, their defense is great. It's getting better. Darius Leonard is great. Their offensive line is fantastic. I think the running game is going to do pretty good. I think they're going to be a very, very physical team. And don't count out the Colts. The Colts are a dangerous bunch of boys. And as for the AFC West, I see the Kansas City Chiefs winning the division. I know, shocker, right? 3-13. But funny enough, the Broncos, Raiders, and Chargers will all finish 7-9. But the Broncos, Raiders, and Chargers, those 3 teams again, they're all going to be 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place. Now, the reason as to why I have it like this is because all 3 of them are genuinely wild cards, especially the Denver Broncos with Von Miller out for this season. If Von Miller was here, I would say that they'd be a playoff team. However, without him, and even with Bradley Chubb missing some games, I don't know. I really don't know. I can't make it the Broncos. I think their offense will be better, but at the same time, it's going to be very, very tough, especially... It's going to be very, very tough for the Broncos, especially with their biggest defensive stalwart not even there. Raiders, I think, did well this offseason. I still think they're going to be 3rd in the division. I still think they're going to be 7-9. Derek Carr, it's a make-or-break season for him. It's as simple as that. Max Crosby, I think, is going to make that next step. I think Josh Jacobs is going to cement himself as one of the best ball carriers in the league. And I think they're going to do well in their first season in Las Vegas. But at the same time, I think the Raiders will be 3rd place. And finally, you have the Los Angeles Chargers. I think Tyrod Taylor is going to do decent. I think their defense is going to do pretty well. However, their schedule is really tough. And like the Broncos, they're also a wild card. I could see them losing some games. I could see them winning some games. It can really go either way. But all in all, that's what I see. So as for the AFC playoff predictions, I think As for what I think is going to happen for the playoffs for the AFC, I think you're going to see the Ravens will have the 1 seed, the Chiefs with the 2 seed, Colts with a 3 seed, Bills with a 4 seed, Steelers with the 5 seed, Titans 6 seed, and Patriots as the 7 seed, with the last 3, of course, being the wild card teams. As for what I think is going to happen in the wild card round for the AFC, I think the Steelers will get revenge on the Bills for their regular season matchup. I think the Chiefs will defeat the Patriots for the first time in the postseason, and I think the Colts will beat the Titans. And again, like I said, the Colts are a dangerous bunch. As for the divisional round, I think the Ravens will beat their arch rival Pittsburgh Steelers in a close meeting, but the Ravens are going to come out on top because I think their offense is what's going to set the table. As for the Chiefs, yeah, I said the Colts were a very competitive bunch, and you shouldn't rule them out. But you're against the high-powered Kansas City Chiefs offense. You're against the high-powered Kansas City Chiefs, who their roster is basically the same. The only difference is that Tardet, instead of Tardet, you have Coleccio Semele, who I argue is a better guard. So he really just improves on that side of the ball. And then for the AFC Championship game, I don't think the Chiefs are going to repeat as AFC champions. I don't even think that, let alone winning the Super Bowl again. So I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to come out of this as the conference champions, and I see them representing the AFC in Super Bowl 55. So that's my AFC predictions, guys. Tune in literally right after this for my NFC predictions, as well as my award and as well as my award and my Super Bowl predictions. Stay tuned, guys, and I'll be right back to you very, very shortly.